So in this video, I am going to talk about the time delta function in the datetime module. So we'll see what is the time delta function and how to use it. So hey guys, this is Biswajit and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So let's start with the video. So if you have not watched the previous video on datetime, I do highly recommend you. Please go and watch that. So this will be like a continuation from the previous video. So first I'll import date time. After that, datetime dot time delta. So what is time delta and how it differs from datetime dot datetime? Okay, if I do dot now, I have shown you what is this now, datetime dot now. This represents the current timing. Okay, so also this thing is similar to if I import time and if I do datetime dot front timestamp time dot time. Okay, so this both are the same thing, like these two functions does the same thing. But that's not the point of the video. So what's the difference between datetime dot datetime and datetime dot time delta? Okay, so datetime dot datetime, this function, okay, this set of functions show us a particular time, a particular date, okay, a particular moment. But datetime the time delta, it returns a particular duration. So this set of functions, okay, this datetime dot now and datetime dot from timestamp, this two returns a particular date with a particular time, but this returns a particular duration, like maybe 10 days of duration, 11 days of duration, maybe 1 year of duration, or 1000 days of duration. If I show you the arguments what we can pass, so as I said, datetime represents duration. Okay, and by duration what I meant is the difference between two datetime values, which is also mentioned over here. So as you can see, the time delta takes many arguments. So there are days, there are seconds, there are microseconds, there are milliseconds, minutes, hours and weeks. Okay, but there are no months or year, because a month and a year, the values are not constant. Like in some months we are having 30 days, in some months we are having 31 days, in some months we are having 28 days. Okay, so months are not constant, even years are not constant. Like in some years we are having 365, in some years we are having 366. Okay, but these values are almost constant, right? So like if I compare weeks, we are having a fixed value of weeks, I think 52 weeks in a year, and like in 1 week we are having 7 days. So these values are like sort of constant. So if I pass maybe time delta day equal to, or days equal to 1, so you can see this is returning an object as days equal to 1. Now I will show you how to use time delta more specifically. So let's suppose today's date is datetime dot now. Okay, pretty sweet. And if I print it, today's date, yep, we are getting 4th March 2023. Now datetime the time delta days equal to 1. Now the thing is, if I do today's date and if I want to add single date, can we do that? We can't do that, because obviously this is an integer and this is a datetime object. So if I want to add any one date, like any one day to our particular date, so we can do that using time delta. And what I meant by that is, now I have today's date, right? If I do today's date plus I want to add a single day to it, if I do shift and enter, now you can see it's 5th March. Okay, it's 5th March. If I add 10 days, so it will become 14th March. Now if I add 100 days, it will become it's I think 12th June, I think, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so you get the point, right? You get the point. If I add 1000 days, you can see it's 28 November 2025. So this is how the we can add days into our number of we are into our date. So just for the experiment's sake, like we can't add today's date. Like for example, today is 4th March. So we can't add 1 to it like this, because obviously this is an object, this is an integer, doesn't make sense. If we try to add today's date plus today's date, what will happen? We can't obviously do an addition because plus is not supported. So the only way if you want to add or do any kind of arithmetic operation into the current date, the time delta module is there for you. So like if I do minus maybe 1000 days, you can see it went to 2020, right? If I do minus 2000 days, it went to 2017. Okay, maybe if I do minus 150, it went to 2019, the good old days. So one more thing I want to show you is, for example, this is a time delta. Okay. Now if I do shift and enter, so this is a time delta object. I should say date time, the time delta object. Okay. So now you can see it is giving days as 1500. Now if I add 1 to it, will it happen? Let me close this. Will it happen? Let me get some more space. So will it happen? Is it possible? So obviously it's not possible. We can't add time delta and int together. If I do into 10, is that possible? But see, it is possible. We can do multiplication to time delta, but unfortunately I'm able to see we can't do an addition. We can't also do a subtraction, but we can do multiplication. So now we are getting 15,000 days. Okay, we can also do a division. Okay, now we are getting 150 days. Can we do a proper integer division? Yeah, that is also supported. We are also getting 150 days. So these are few of the operations that are supported by time delta. So just to make it very, very clear, so generally what we can do is we can't add today's date. Okay, we can't add a datetime object with each other, not supported. Okay, but we can add datetime object with time delta. Okay, this is supported, maybe 100 days. Okay, this is supported. Can we add this two together? Or maybe if I do a subtraction, even this is also supported. Okay, multiplication is not supported and division is not supported. If I do multiplication, it's not supported. If I do a division, it is also not supported, because these two are two different objects. Okay, now let's consider this time delta. Okay, now if I do time delta plus 1, it's not supported. If I do time delta minus 1, not supported. If I do multiplication, it is supported. And if I do division, supported. Okay, so these are the arithmetic operations that we can do. So before closing this video, I just wanted to show you a small example. So let's say the Republic Day, or better, let's take January 1st, 2023. Okay, so it's a datetime and it's 2023 January. Fine. Now if I print this particular object, now for example, if I define another object which is datetime dot time delta, and if I add days as maybe 365, so see, we are getting 1st January 2024. And I think we can also add weeks. Let me show what all the parameters that are present. So we can add seconds. Let's add some hours. Maybe I want to add 24 hours. So it should be, so for it was 1st January 23. Now with 2nd January 23, because we added 24 hours into our date. Now likewise we can add weeks. Okay, if I add maybe 8 weeks, so now it's 26th February 2023. Okay, I added 2 weeks, so it's like 2 months. So I hope I was able to make this thing very clear. So datetime appended to datetime.timedelta returns us a datetime object. Okay, this is a particular date and time, and this is a particular duration of time. So you can add this duration to your date to get the desired future or the past date or the current date that you want. Okay, I hope I was able to make this very clear. So that's all for this video. I hope you guys were able to understand. If you enjoyed it, please do press that like button, and I'll see you in an awesome upcoming programming video.